The Abbey of St Genevieve was a monastery in Paris, suppressed at the time of the French Revolution. History. The abbey, close to the Église Saint-Étienne du Mont in the present Pantheon, was said to have been founded in 502 by King Clovis I and his queen, Clotilde, in the name of the Holy Apostles, jointly dedicated to Peter and Paul. Later Saint Genevieve was in the habit of coming to pray, taking a route commemorated by the name Rue de la Montagne Saint Genevieve. At her death in 512, her remains were interred at the Abbey Church, near the tomb of Clovis. In 1147 secular canons officiated in the church. King Louis VII of France and Pope Eugene III, having witnessed some disorders, determined to restore discipline. At the request of Suger and Bernard of Clairvaux, Gildwin, the first abbot of St. Victor, sent Ardo, the prior of his abbey. There were difficulties, but order finally prevailed and some of the canons joined the reform, the abbey becoming a house of canons regular. Among these was the young William of Paris. At the request of Absalon, Bishop of Roskilde in Denmark, who when a student at St. Genevieve's had known him, William was sent to that country to reform Eskilstre Abbey, a monastery of canons in the Isle of Eskil. He founded another monastery, which he dedicated to the Holy Paraclete. He died in 1206, and was canonized by Pope Honorius III. It was natural that close relations should exist between St. Genevieve and its foundations in Denmark. Peter Sundsen, a young man who made his profession at the abbey, became Bishop of Roskilde. Valdemar, brother of Cnut the Great, died at St. Genevieve, and Abbot Stephen of Tournai wrote to William and his friends to obtain leave for the roof of his abbey. Like the Abbey of St. Victor, St. Genevieve became a celebrated seat of learning and the site of a great medieval library. St. Victor, St. Genevieve, and Notre Dame were the cradles of the University of Paris. Peter de Ferrier, abbot of St. Victor, was at one time prior of Epinay, a priory of St. Genevieve. William of Auxerre, a professed canon of St. Victor in 1254, held the office of Cellera, and became abbot of St. Genevieve, and Marcel, successively canon at St. Victor and St. Genevieve, was in 1198 made abbot of Soissons. In later centuries this abbey fell into the hands of abbots in commendam. In the early 17th century Cardinal de la Rochefoucauld undertook the reforms required by the Council of Trent. He brought from Senlis Charles Foret, who had already restored the canonical rule in the ancient Abbey of Sylvanecht. Once more the rule of St. Augustine was faithfully observed at St. Genevieve's, which became the mother house of the Gallican Congregation de France, an association of the Augustinian abbeys called the Genovefines. By the middle of the 17th century the Abbot General of the congregation had under his jurisdiction more than 100 abbeys and priories. Men like Fronto, Chancellor of the University and author of many works, Lailman, Chapanel, Regina, Chengut, Burier, Dumoulin-Net, founder of the National Library, and Augustin Hay, a Scotsman who wrote the Scotia Sacra and officiated at Holyrood, Scotland, in 1687, were sons of the French congregation. The astronomer Alexandre Guy Pingaret was librarian of St. Genevieve. In the mid-18th century, a project of reconstruction was begun. An immense abbey church over the old crypt was built, to designs by Jacques-Germain Soufflot, in part rebuilt. It serves today as the Pantheon. Suppression. When in 1790 the Revolutionary Assembly declared all religious vows void, and evicted all of the residents of the monasteries, there were 39 canons at St. Genevieve's. This was the end of the abbey and school. To run the new Rue Clovis through the site, the building was demolished shortly after 1800, except for the bell tower, called the Tour Clovis. The Lycée Henry IV, built in part with elements of the abbey buildings, occupies the site.